this video. Now today I'm going to be taking a look at this album. I'm going to be reviewing the classic, the Kinks are the Village Green Preservation Society. So I'll just be doing the usual thing in this video. I'll be giving a bit of background information about the album. Then I will be showing you my vinyl copy as well as the vinyl box set which came out like a few months back. And then I will look at each of the songs in detail. So this was the Kinks' 6th studio album, released on the 22nd of November in 1968. By this point in the Kinks' story, their commercial success was declining. Their last single was called Wonder Boy, and that failed to crack the UK top 20, becoming their first single to do so. Ray was a bit mystified at this, like they were still sort of being expected to sort of like pump out like these hit singles, like whereas like his writing like was becoming like a lot more sort of like interesting and like a lot more like less commercial. Like as a result, like he decided that he would put his energies into making the album which he always wanted to make. Work had begun like on like the Village Green theme of this album, like as far back as 1966. And through the next few years, Ray would work through like this theme, like inventing like these characters and like lyrics about escapism, like from like the current world. Like they would work on like this album alongside like their like 1967 album Something Else by the Kinks, like kind of saving like tracks for this one here. Like and like it's always like maybe like throwing away like sort of like the lesser tracks like onto the previous album Something Else by the Kinks. So originally this record was released as a 12-track album, and like it was issued like in Europe and like some other territories like as such, and like this is kind of like what like the cover looked like here. So it was this one here, and like you had 12 tracks on it, including the single Days, and there was another song called Mr. Songbird, like which didn't make it onto the final album. However, Ray wasn't happy like with this version like of the album, and like insisted that it be recalled. So like he wanted to make it into a more sprawling 20-track double album, like where like a compromise like was reached like with like the record company, like where like it was like reconfigured into the 15-track version, which is the most popular version like of it today, like as I said, like with 15 songs on it. Upon release it was a critical success but a huge commercial flop, failing to chart in both the UK and America. It would go down like in like the years like as a sort of cult favourite before being highlighted by the likes of Paul Weller and like Noel Gallagher as a really sort of influential work. And like I said, like in more recent years, like I see very lavish like reissue packages. It would eventually go gold in the UK some 50 years after its released in 2018. And like also like a must watch as well is there's an excellent Sky Arts documentary on the making of this album called Echoes of a World, which sort of discusses the making of the album, like with Ray, Dave, and like those like inspired by it, like so like Paul Weller's in it, Noel Gallagher, Andy Partridge of XCC, like lots of like my favourite musicians really like look up to this album. So I wish I'd show you the deluxe box set here. So with it you do get this, which is the a double record of it, so mono and stereo pressings of the original album, and then like the early version as well, the 12-track configuration. Then you also get a really nice hardbound book in here, which has a lot of essays in it, a lot of pictures, which is really nice stuff here. Just talks about the making of the album. There's different artwork and stuff that people have done for it. So yeah, really nice book there. And then probably like the centerpiece like off the box set I would say is this little thing here, which how you get all the CDs as well. So so it's not just vinyl. 5 CDs there, which include demos and BBC sessions and live stuff. Just a treasure trove of like wonderful things there. You get 3 singles as well, like replica 7-inch singles. That's the one there for Days, and I think the other one's Starstruck and Village Green Preservation Society. And then in here you get a lot of like sort of posters and sort of inserts and cool stuff like that. So you get just open this up here. So you get a couple of wee sort of postcards here, sort of replica concert ticket there for what's that, the 27th of April 1968. You get these sort of really nice sort of glossy photographs here, like from like their sort of like photo shoot like for the album's promotion, which is really nice. And then so you get a few of those. You get some posters here as well from like live shows and stuff. So yeah, it's just got a lot of like really cool things there, and as well as a sort of like big poster like off the gatefold. So yeah, chock-a-block full of really good stuff like this box set here. This is the 50th anniversary deluxe set. So anyway, I will now go over each of the album songs in detail, so I'll score each track out of 10, and then those scores will be used to give us a overall percentage marking for the album.
We are the Village Green Preservation Society.
So the album kicks off with the title track, The Village Green Preservation Society, which is very much a sort of like overarching theme song for the whole album. It lyrically mentions many sort of dying British cultural references, like in like a sort of fun, sort of like jaunty track, like nice sort of like I think it's like a xylophone like on it as well. It's just a really good song. Like it's against a sort of like discarding like of like familiar like British like institutions. It manages to be very light like on the surface, as well as making sort of like a quite sort of like serious like statement about like sort of like preserving the past like and like our heritage. So yeah, really great song there to kick off the record. An easy 10 out of 10 for me. Now the next track up could be my favourite on the whole album. It's called Do You Remember Walter, which yeah, a brilliant track here. Lyrically, this song is about sort of bumping into like an old school friend, but now sort of like after like the years like have gone by, like having like nothing to talk about, like having like nothing like in common. Like the key lyric on it is people often change, but memories of people can remain. Musically, the song is just pure pop perfection, like with like from like the introduction, like which like Jeff Lynne like would like lift like for like the ELO hit Mr. Blue Sky, to the sort of like the tempo changes like throughout the song, and like the chords. It just works really well. Just an absolute like masterpiece like of songwriting there. Do You Remember Walter? An easy 10 out of 10 for me. And next track up keeps up the momentum, and it's called Picture Book, which is another real favourite of mine. It's a quite an upbeat acoustic driven track here, which talks about like looking through like an old picture book and like sort of like reminiscing like about like sort of like about like your like younger years. Again, I love the vocal performance on this one, especially like with like the two Davies brothers like sort of like harmonising really well, and it's got a great like acoustic guitar riff like as well like on it. So yeah, Picture Book, another 10 out of 10, another song I can't really find like any faults with.
Johnny Thunder, don't need no one.
Next track up is called Johnny Thunder, which this one is about the sort of like the rebellious biker like off the village, and like how the singer like wishes that he could have all the attention which this like Johnny Thunder like is getting. I'm not crazy about the song though, and the sort of like the la 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 sort of like chorus bit like gets a little bit annoying, like it's a little bit sort of like too twee like in like some ways, like, but it is still a good song though, like a good song like creatively lyrically, certainly fits in like with the theme like of the album, like definitely like has its place like on the record. So yeah, we'll give that one an 8 out of 10. Next up is called The Last of the Steam-Powered Trains, which was a later addition to the album, like wasn't included on the original like 12-track version. But this is a very sort of strong bluesy song which uses lyrically the decommissioning of steam engines like as like a metaphor, like for sort of like feeling like not of your time and like having nothing in common like with like your peers. It appears like it's a very like sort of like throwback like kind of song like musically like to the Kinks, so sort of like R&B sounds, like kind of like with like this sort of like blaring like harmonica like throughout the track. It verges like into blues like pache like sort of like territory, but it is a fun song though, a fun powerful track which certainly keeps up like the momentum of the album. So yeah, we'll give that one also an 8 out of 10 there.
Someday we'll be free.
Next up is called Big Sky, and I must say this is a real grower of a song, because when I first reviewed this album, probably getting on for about 3 or 4 years ago now, I wasn't crazy about the song. I didn't really like the spoken bit like on it. I just thought like it was just a bit of like a throwaway song, but now I really love it. Like lyrically like that first bit, like where like it is like sort of like this spoken like narrated bit, it could kind of be sort of taken like as sort of like the voice of God, like sort of like speaking like over like the world and that. Like it's kind of like, I've read it as a sort of like an anti-religion like sort of song. This, however, it is subtle enough lyrically that you can read like what you want like into the song. But then after that sort of like first bit, it goes into this real sort of like transcendent like middle eight. Like it really just lifts the song up, and like it's magic because it's really not, it's not repeated again like throughout the track. It really just makes the song like extra special, like something like which like you sort of like you look forward to like listening to like when it comes on. Just a great performance like all round, like great production like on it like as well. So yeah, Big Sky. I would now give that song a 10 out of 10. I do absolutely love it. And then side one closes off with a song called Sitting by the Riverside, which is a more kind of whimsical song about lounging about like on a hot summer's day and like so like going fishing, like escaping like from the outside world. It has a sort of like touch of like psychedelia to it, like with like the sort of like the mellotron gives it this sort of like dreamlike state which sort of like fits in like with the lyrics like off the track. However, it is a bit sort of basic, like lyrically, like in like some ways. Like, plus, it isn't one of for me the real standout moments like on the album. So I would give that one an 8 out of 10 there for Sitting by the Riverside.
On Animal Farm, my animal home.
And then side two kicks off with a song called Animal Farm, which was named after the legendary George Orwell novel, and it's kind of musically got this sort of very sort of folky feeling to it, about sort of like wanting to escape like from like the world, and like sort of like the singer like wishes to be like amongst like these like farm animals like rather than like other humans. It is one of only 2 songs on the album to feature real orchestration, and for me though it isn't a real favourite of mine, this track, for some reason. I can't really put my finger on it why, but like it's sort of like, I'm not sure like if it's just like the lyrics like I don't really like relate too much, like, or like if it is like maybe just like I think it's more sort of like the structure like of like the song, that there's just something about it like what doesn't draw me in like as much as sort of like the other songs do like on the record. So I would give that one a 7 out of 10, like, but I do know that a lot of people do rate that song a lot higher than me.
Miss the village green and all the simple people I miss.
And then the next one up is called Village Green, which was the earliest song recorded for the album, recorded in late 1966, this song, and like was issued on this EP in 1967. I'm not sure like what this one was called, but yeah, like it is on this one here, like a few years before the album like came out. So this song was inspired by a trip to Devon, like which like Ray Davies made, and like which in turn inspired the whole Village Green theme of the album. Lyrically, it's about sort of like missing a place like where like one grew up. The singer like on this like is like reminiscing about the different features like of the village, like such as the church, the clock, the steeple. However, like in like the years gone by, like he's sort of like his like sort of like feelings like his like feelings like towards the village like have sort of like been like tainted, like his like childhood sweetheart has like married like the grocer boy, like, and like the village like has become sort of tacky and like sort of like overrun like with tourists, like, and like commercialism. So yeah, there's just so many different like sort of like caveats like to the lyrics like of like there's something like just sort of like works like all like so many like levels at this track. So yeah, Village Green, another really good song, and 9 out of 10 that one. Like also like used to great effects like in the film Hot Fuzz. So yeah, like that's Village Green, a 9 out of 10 for that song.
Enjoy your Starstruck on me.
Then we return to the album with the song Starstruck, which is another real favourite of mine on the album. It's an upbeat song with great production on it. I especially love like the drum sound on it, like the percussion work, like with I think it's like some like bongos like in it. That just works really well. It's like a really nice like sort of like slightly left field touch. Again, it's about sort of like being driven away from your hometown by sort of fame and like the prospect of stardom. It's a song that sort of like weird sort of like foreshadows like later Kinks works, such as like Everybody's in Showbiz and like the Lola album as well. It was also the first US single taken from the record, and it did fail to chart like in like America, but it did reach a rather respectable number 13 in the Netherlands. So yeah, I just really love the song. I think it moves along really well. Ray sings it great. So yeah, I would give Starstruck a 10 out of 10. And the next track up could be my least favourite on the album. It's called Phenomenal Cat. And this is one of the more sort of like psychedelic moments on the record. It's got a sort of childlike nature like to like the lyrics, like not too far removed from something what like say like Syd Barrett like would have done like around this time. It is maybe like my least favourite song like on the record though. I do think that like Dave Davies sort of like high speed, like high pitched vocal on it does get a little bit annoying like in the song. It just doesn't really fit in like with the themes like of the album to me. So yeah, like phenomenal cat. Would get a 6 out of 10 for that one. Like not a song I rate too highly.
All of my friends were there.
Now the next song up is called All of My Friends Were There, which I would give a 7 out of 10 to. For me, the song doesn't really link in with the album's themes, but it's quite a like funny track about which was inspired by a real life event what happened to Ray, like when he made a fool of himself like on stage, like when like he was like he like, apparently like got like really drunk like before like a gig like one day and couldn't like get through the concert. Like and like all like his friends were sort of like in like the front row it seemed, like it's kind of like recalls like that like event in this sort of like music hall like sort of style. It is a good song, just not for me one of the highlights on the album, so I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Wicked Anabella mixes up.
And the next up is called Wicked Anabella, which is another one of the more heavier tracks like on the album. It starts off with this sort of like distorted guitar riff, like very sort of like dirty sounding song by Dave Davies, who does a really sort of like dark, like menacing vocal performance on it. Also really great drumming from Mick Avoy like on this track here, and again it's got a nice structure to it as well, like with like a really sort of like rousing like middle eight, which really sort of like lifts the track up a lot. And then like in the outro it sort of descends like into like this feedback frenzy, like another twist like in the album, this song. So yeah, that one I would give a 9 out of 10 to. Just always really like that song.
I shall die if I should lose my leg.
And then the penultimate song is called Monaco, which is another one of my least favourite ones on the record. Lyrically, this song, like Ray has said, is about the village prostitute, basically, without explicitly like sort of like saying so, like in like the lyrics. So it has this sort of like kind of like Latin, like sort of salsa like feeling to it, like and like the singer's like sort of saying that like that I should die like if I should lose Monaco, like or something like that. I mean, like I don't really rate it too highly, like I don't really connect like with the song like at all, and like Ray's vocal like on it, like I'm not too keen on either. So yeah, we'll give that one a 6 out of 10 for Monaco.
People take pictures of the summer, just in case someone thought they...
And then the album finishes with a song called People Take Pictures of Each Other, which I think is the sort of perfect closer like for the album. It's a really sort of like jaunty, like upbeat song, like with a superbly catchy like melody, like great sort of like piano playing like on it, like from I believe it's like Nicky Hopkins, like who plays like the piano like on this album. And like lyrically it's very satirical about how people like feel compelled to like always like take pictures and like photos like of events like just to prove that like they happened. Still quite like a relevant lyric, like with like the sort of like Instagram like and Snapchat, like sort of like teenagers like sort of like using like those things now to like document like their like every move like in life. So yeah, like it's a song which really has like I think like stood the test of time like rather well. So yeah, People Take Pictures of Each Other, really great song, great closer to the album, and a 10 out of 10. Okay, so overall this album would score 85%. So yeah, I think this is a great record, like it is an album which was probably out of step like with like the times like it was released in, like 1968 there's a lot of like political upheaval, yet this record is very much a sort of like complete like contradiction like to that. And like so like has been able like to grow in stature, like it isn't sort of like really connected like with like the 60s like all that much. Also seem to go against like sort of like the growing like sort of like psychedelic movement, like apart like from like a couple like of like moments like such as like Phenomenal Cat like and like maybe like Monaco like as well. Like it was sort of like recorded like with us sort of like these like minimal effects like all like overdubs, really just like a live band playing, which makes this record I think a really timeless album. I think it also hangs together well like as a concept record. It is a bit sort of like Sgt. Pepper like in some ways, like because like it's sort of like each song can sort of be played like on its own, but when they come together they make a really sort of strong, cohesive artistic statement, which I think is the Kinks' best album right here. So that's been my review of the Village Green Preservation Society. I hope you have enjoyed, and would be interested to know what you think of this album in the comments down below, and I will see you all next time for the next video. Goodbye.